was Rodney Part 2.
Okay.
Or at my size, Part 8.
Let's see here.
All right. Hello, everyone. For everybody that has came in here. You know, I'm wondering, I meant to look through this book. And I do want to do this. But I did not. I guess we could show the pictures in this, though. I mean, this is a very interesting book. It's made by Mark James. And look at this thing, though.
Wow.
I don't know how many.
Yeah, they took a lot of time with that for sure.
Let's see. And it's got everybody's books in here too. Mark James. He's the one that did Bill Dundee's book.
Let's see. I have it behind me here somewhere. Right here. Yep. Mark James, Bill Dundee with Mark James.
I see that there. All right. Man, he's done all kinds of books, this Mark James has. Huh. Well, that's some interesting stuff. Yeah, I guess we'll show because let's see if these come out.
Yeah, you can see that.
Yep.
Even better when you do this.
Oh yeah, I may have to have you do that while I'm
zoom me in there, cameraman. Look at that. You have the big plowboy Frazier. He might be the Playboy Frazier at that time with Jerry Lawler. Upside down. This right here.
All right. So we can do that. All right. Yeah, I'll read a little bit of this too. There's not really a lot of stuff to read on here.
That's a good book when you have a lot of pictures.
That's true. All right, yeah, we'll just look through the pictures. We'll just look at the pictures through that, and then we'll tell people they can buy this book on the thing. All right. Let's see. Gunkel used Oxbaker as world champion when he held the WWE Championship. Sellout crap the J&J when he defended against Ernie Ladd. Well, let me ask you this question, Charles. How was he at that point in time? I mean, was he good? Did everything look good that he did? Because by the time I've seen him, in the 70s and 80s, he's really, really bad. You know, Jody Hamilton said one time, he says, I'm going to wrestle until everything I do looks bad. And then he said, then I'm going to get up. Michael Barr, I'm here, but you are not. Yeah, we're here, Michael. I don't know how did he get here? Rick Brooks, hello, guys. Dan Lang. Can't believe you guys didn't mention Becker and Carl Fergie as a team. Yes, I remember them as a team. Greatest Mid-Atlantic Tag Team champions ever. Steamboat Youngblood, who?
He was the pretty boy, Carl Fergie.
Hey, what's he got on?
Oh, she's got on her new little harness. She's a Houdini, though, because she can get out of it.
Victor Nash, I am here. How you doing, Victor?
He's going to stir it up tomorrow night.
Yep. Just checked in, Richard Hood. Michael Barr, did somebody say something about fire it up? Does anybody remember when Tommy Rich was selling live yes, of himself, $8.50 to $2? Yes, we remember that.
Yeah, that honestly, when I rewatched that was embarrassing. I mean, absolutely embarrassing.
What
the about is, yeah, Gordon should not have been hawking that poster. Should have had another announcer doing that. They should not have used Gordon to hawk this live side picture of Tommy Wildfire Rich. And they had a very special announcement later on. They're going to be selling it throughout the entire month in all the arenas. So everybody will be lining up to do that.
1974, he was good enough. Could not Matt Russell just a slug test good plan? I was just wondering. I didn't really know. Michael Barr. Me and Rudder are going to be in a match from his comment from earlier about the proctologist.
It could have been worse. It could have been psychiatrist, but we're not going to talk about that. That's not nice to talk about people. Kind of illnesses.
All right, let's do. We're only going to do one because we're going to do a little bit of something different in coming up. We're going to redo on Wednesdays instead of doing a video on Wednesdays. We're going to push people to YouTube to watch the replay of the Tuesday night show. And then on Sundays, we're going to push the people to watch the Monday show and tell everybody to watch it tomorrow night for a while and see if we can push them numbers up on YouTube. Just to see what happens.
Right. Hold on just a minute. I have a coke get him. Two girls. No, neither one of them just zone out. Don't give me a hand.
Well, now he is just enthralled in what we're talking about.
No, he's just being a.
He wants to be on the show, and you know it.
In the CCW Montgomery, was it filmed from, and was it live wrestling? No, it was not live. We didn't film it live, and it wasn't on television live. But it was that was really the TV from Montgomery was better than anything they tried to do. The one they did from Dothan at the Farm Center always looked horrible because they had those fluorescent lighting in there, and fluorescent lighting will turn your show orange. If you're not careful, you'll have an orange stuff.
And it was done at the Montgomery Civic Center, which I think is still there. It's just it's changed. They've changed its name.
How did you guys feel about Gordon Sully promoting his own book on Continental? I don't remember.
It was tacky.
But see, here's the thing. All right, he pushed the thing with Tommy Rich, life-size posters. We had just got there when they were starting to do the life-size posters. He does the thing where he's pushing his own book. And then we try to do a thing with Jerry Stubbs where he says he has something to do with there, and he has a fit about it. I mean, he had a fit. That was one of those days I had to take the telling me off for 15 minutes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If I had been 40 years old, that probably wouldn't happen. All right. Y'all ready to do this? So what he said, Victor Dash, Dan Lang, I never saw something.
Continental, I think is what he's saying.
Oh, okay. Continental was a good show. It was a very good show. They had a great, like anything, as around 1987, things just start going. What did you say, Rodney? Probably the summer of 1987.
Yeah, it started going. It went down the tubes real quick.
What brought Mr. Wrestling 2 to Montgomery against the Bullet? Well, they just needed somebody else for Bob to beat. I mean, it just that was just because they were bringing in a ton of people for him to beat people at that time. So, I think I am going to read a little bit of this because I don't know who did the illustrations for this stuff.
Victor says wrestling, but I know Gordon Sully. The book must have been better than the wrestling, so it might have been.
I always love when the commentator would say, "This is the main event in any arena in the world."
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. We'll start this thing out. Oh, wait a minute. I'm fixing to sneeze. I don't think we better start the video that way.
Do it.
Man, I cannot get
Charles Bellflower.
It's making my eyes.
Here's your good one here. Was at an independent show. Rich was charging people $20 to have a photo taken with him and the NWA belt.
Man.
And if you'll wait it long enough, you could get his mug shots. Here we go.
Better use a wide angle because he's got that full Jack Lord body now.
Was it the mass challenge or the bullet? Gordon went back to the yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I never liked that either. That's cheap. That's always when somebody has a mask versus mask match and nobody ever loses their mask. There's a problem there. That's just the problem. Because it makes your company look bad. All right, here we go. Going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. We are going to be looking at Memphis Wrestling History Presents 1977, The War for Memphis. This book was written by Mark James, and I don't know, I have not checked it, but this book is available on Amazon. I don't know that it is, but I would say it is available on Amazon. This is a very interesting book. Let me just read a couple of things on here about this guy because I find it very interesting. I find this very interesting. Let me show you this right here. This is some illustrations of. There's Nick Goulas and Jerry Jarrett, and that I kind of like the illustrations, but you see the picture being pulled apart. This is during the time that they
and I would highly recommend Jerry wear pants next time because that's awful picture. It looks like he's been punched in the nose too.
That by the way, that is available on Amazon, $22.99.
All right, so get over there and get this book. It's a pretty good. And by the way, Dan Lang is the one that gave us this book to.
Dan's the man.
Yes, he is. All right, well, you can go up hi there. I'm gonna read this. It says, Jerry Jarrett, Nick Goulas. As the years go by, the stories that tell Memphis wrestling histories change. While some evolve, others are forgotten. As time continues to pass, even more stories in history are lost. Looking back to 1977, it's easy to not realize the importance it holds for Memphis wrestling fans. Of course, those of us around here, which this is just 37 years ago, I don't know how many years this book has been out, came quickly up with Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee feud that ignited and burned that entire summer. The same Memphis summer that saw the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, passed away, and they're talking about 1977. Not even through the Lawler-Dundee battles were the highlight of the Monday night matches. Memphis wrestlers' greatest battle ever took place outside the ring. So they're talking about in early 1977, Jerry Jarrett broke away from longtime Memphis promotion owner Nick Goulas. While the specifics are covered later in this book, and we won't get to later in this book, that's the reason you probably need to buy this book, Mark James' book, because we're not going to get this.
Now let's be very clear about something. There would have never been a split but for the death of Roy Welch.
Yes.
There would have never been a split because of that. Roy Welch, the passing of Roy Welch is what really precipitated the whole thing.
Yeah, because it says this is what they say. They said that simply put, these two men went to war for the rights to hold wrestling matches in Memphis and the region that Jerry Jarrett had built over the past decade: Louisville, Lexington in Kentucky, Evansville, Indiana, Tupelo, Mississippi, Jonesboro, Arkansas, and smaller towns in between. The war's victor would take everything, while the loser would lose a prize jewel. Memphis was the diamond of the territory and the city that loved its wrestling. The weekly Monday night cards would attract near sellout crowds for half of the year and high ticket sales the rest. The Saturday morning TV show would get 28 shares, and had over 300,000 people watching every weekend. Those were serious numbers, and that it provided serious money. 300,000 people watching wrestling in Memphis, Tennessee. 1977, by the way. 28 share. And some of these people, they're happy when they do 500,000 on a day. That's 300,000 people watching. Jerry Jarrett, Nick Goulas was polar opposites in the way they ran their companies. The upstart Jarrett would listen to the fans and his booking of the cards. If fans didn't like what they saw, they would stop buying tickets. If a feud or angle was not getting over with the fans, meaning they wasn't into it and weren't buying tickets to the matches, then Jerry would kill it and come up with something new. The elder Gulas, however, would stick with his plans regardless of what the fans were doing. If a feud was set to run 6 weeks, it ran 6 weeks. Now, he didn't do that back in the 60s. I don't know why he stopped doing that. Well, I'm going to wonder why he stopped doing that. Because he wasn't something he did back in the 60s.
I hate to be this way, as you know, but to sit there and say that Jerry Jarrett built a company for 10 years without giving the appropriate credit to Roy Welch is just unbelievable. It's like that Jarrett built something from nothing. He did not.
No,
he absolutely did that. And this is one-sided because Nick Gulas did not book that way either.
No.
If it didn't draw, he got rid of you.
Yeah.
All right. That's not the way it worked. That's what no promoter does it that way. And I think that's kind of one-sided in this approach because Nick was not that way at all. You either drew or you're gone.
And we know that's a fact.
Yes.
We know that was a fact. Now, I don't know about 1977, but we know for a fact in the 60s, when my father was working for Nick Gulas, that he would fire you if you didn't draw no money. And he would tell him, I don't want him on my main events anymore. So I don't know. I don't know that that's a true statement in this book.
The only thing that did become a problem for Nick is that he had done a lot of let's just say bad payoffs. So it was difficult for him to get talent, and he got stuck with many of the same people.
And see, this is what, and I don't know, maybe, I'm thinking maybe he's listening to Jerry Jarrett. I think he instead of listening, because I don't guess Nick Gulas was around when he wrote this book.
Well, they wouldn't.
When was this book written?
Would have been on the inside. Should be on the inside cover, right out. It should be in the inside cover of the publication. Michael, that was Roy Welch. That's the father of that's the father that's the father the one that actually put it there. There's the Welches, Buddy Fuller and Roy Welch. I do believe I think they're brothers. Is that right? They're related in some way. They're really the pioneers. They're the ones put stuff together. Roy Lee Welch was the son of Lester. Is that right, Brent?
I think so. Yes. All right, it says July 2014, so we know he didn't talk to Nick Gulas.
Roy Welch was the grandfather of Ron Fuller and all of them. He was the grandfather. So,
all right, this is not true.
That would be Buddy Fuller would have been Roy Welch's son, right?
Mark James should have called us before he wrote this. The way Gulas ran things in the 1950s was the way Gulas ran them in 1977. How would he know? Did he talk to Nick Gulas? No, Nick Gulas wasn't around. He talked to Jerry Jarrett, and Jarrett's going to tell him how great he was. While
and I don't discount Jarrett's contribution to the company, but to exclude Roy Welch from that and not to give him any credit whatsoever is an oversight, complete oversight. And maybe Jarrett,
I'm not sure Jarrett ever talks about Roy Welch. I don't think ever even speaks about him. I'm not for sure that I've ever heard an interview where he ever talked about Roy Welch. Jerry Jarrett was more fluid in his running of his promotion, while Nick Gulas was a proverbial stick in the mud. Times had changed, and Gulas had not learned to change with them.
Most up until this,
I think Jarrett must have paid him for this.
I mean, most of the talent that was used. Case in point. Jerry Lawler, Jackie Fargo, Tojo Yamamoto, Phil Hickerson, Dennis Condrey, Bond Bombers, they all work with the same people. That was the same talent. The Bounty Hunters, Saul Weindroff, Don and Al Green, they all work with each other. Not until the split was there a differential in the talent. And Tojo went with Nick, not with Jarrett in the beginning.
As the war was happening, the future glory years of Memphis wrestling were on the line. As great as the years that set up 1977 were, Jarrett knew the promotion's best times were yet to come. On the other hand, Gulas was a desperate man. Even though he owned the entire Tennessee territory, only the Memphis end was profitable. A decade earlier, Memphis was the only part of the territory losing money. A decade earlier, Memphis was the only part of the territory losing money.
Don't make me take that, come over there and set that thing on fire and put it as the big piece of crap, burning huge lie that it is. What a piece of garbage.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
He is hopped up on that dope, or he's got his head so far up Jarrett's rear end that he can't see anything. That is total nonsense. Chattanooga was the hottest town in the Southeast at one time. And in 1977, it wasn't in the dump.
No,
Chattanooga
it was not.
Still hot. Birmingham was still hot.
Where was he at? Where was he at this time? In 1974, they were selling out Birmingham, Alabama.
Sure they were.
Every week. So where was Mark James? I don't know, Mark.
Mark James needs to go to Michael Barr's proctologist and have his head removed from Jarrett's rear end. Is exactly what he needs to do. This is fiction. It's total fiction.
Let's read some more of this fiction. He said Jarrett changed Memphis while over the previous 2 or 3 years. Gulas ran his end into the ground. The bottom line was Jarrett wanted to achieve. Gulas just wanted to survive. This is crazy.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to get some of this to wipe that off. This is nonsense. Absolute poppycock crap.
Let me ask you this question.
What? We're gonna have to get Mark on the program.
Let me ask you this, Jack.
Get this moron on
wrestling matches during this point in time, right? 1974, 75, 76. Did you go into any Chattanooga wrestling shows?
No, I used to watch it, every week. But
would you considered it in the 1970s? Would you have considered even 77, 76? Would you consider that bad? Nick Gulas?
No, it was great.
Now, they have a point. He did have a talent situation at the end. He most certainly did, and that's because after a while, bad payoffs catch up to you. But to say in 77 that Nick Gulas wasn't doing any good business is nonsense.
Yeah, that was not true.
Absolute nonsense.
Now, I don't know where Mark James lived, but that's not true in Chattanooga. The stage is set. The war took place, and it was waged in Memphis. The battle lines were drawn. The forces used were men like Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee, Jackie Fargo, Tojo Yamamoto, Tommy Rich, and Rocky Johnson. Tommy Rich, I don't think so. I think Tommy Rich by that time, was he not already in Atlanta?
By 77, he was in Georgia. Exactly right.
So Mark, I don't think he was. Might have been 78 he got there, but I'm thinking he was there in 1977.
In 77 when he first got there, where it certainly was, because we had the opportunity of watching Stan Hansen beat him senseless in Rome, Georgia.
This is true.
And this was a wonderful. I have to tell the story. Tommy just got finished with the tag match with Stan Hansen. Stan Hansen, I think they lost, but Tommy Rich challenged Stan Hansen to come back in the ring, and he wished he didn't because Stan proceeded to just wipe the floor of him. I enjoyed that, actually.
By the way, Michael Barr said, "Hey, any more of these comments, I'm going to be on the program." Hey, maybe we should read through these books. I've never read a lot of these books, but maybe we should read through these.
Well, no, I think it shows quite a bit of controversy there. That's okay, and I'm okay with bringing Mr. Jarrett on. I'm okay with it, but and he legitimately will give him the win in Memphis. But there was no really. I mean, he outlasted everybody as far as the territories. He was the last one to shut down. I mean, let's just be honest.
Oh, yeah, Jarrett, very smart man.
Very smart man. But that was a gigantic load.
As they said, what took place behind the scenes was not as well known. Hopefully, this book makes those things clear. Maybe not. Maybe not. While the Gulas and Jarrett War was the most important story of 1977, the biggest in-ring battles were the Jerry Lawler versus Bill Dundee feud, which drew a lot of money, by the way. And that time, that's when they cut Bill Dundee's wife's hair and all that.
Now, what year was that?
1977.
The particular one you're talking about is later, because that's the first round. The second round where Bill Dundee loses the loser leave town match, that's not until 83.
That's in 83, yes. But they cut Bill Dundee's hair during this point and his wife's hair during the 1977 run that drew major houses there. The feud would run the entire summer and see 3 people lose their hair before it was over. And that's where Lawler and everything. It also would go down in Memphis wrestling as arguably the promotion's greatest feud. It was highlighted by an amazing number of sellout Monday nights and seemed to have no end in sight. The feud succeeded in legitimizing Jerry Jarrett's new Memphis promotion on a national level. And what does he mean a national level? He wouldn't have been at a national level.
Well, to hear Jarrett says that everybody was bootlegging his tapes back then. The internet, he started the internet back in 78, and they were able to get it through there to all the places.
But he wasn't a national promotion. I mean, am I wrong?
Maybe he meant the magazines. I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of people in Memphis, so maybe you got confused.
Maybe it's nationally in Memphis. With it going into 3 other states, that might be nationally. Down in Mississippi, over in Arkansas, huge.
In the aftermath of Lawler and Dundee would rise a new Memphis star, handsome Jimmy Valiant. Jimmy's feud with a new baby face, good guy Jerry Lawler, would last through the day. By the way, they did not draw. That did not draw good crowds. They did not draw the Bill Dundee, Jerry Lawler crowd. I've got all the crowd. I have all the attendances from 1973, I believe it is, all the way until 1986. And man, there's some bad crowds for this Jerry Lawler, Jimmy Valiant show. So
that was
Bill Dundee.
So that was 78 that they were saying Jimmy Valiant and Jerry Lawler.
No, it must have been at the end of 1977, right? Said it would last throughout the end of the year. So it would have been the end of 1977 because this book's all about 1977. The hatred that the fans had for Lawler was quickly changed to adoration, and the king ruled over Memphis. And then eventually that turning too many times to kill your territory. So many major matches took place in Memphis in 1977. When you look at all the great and future stars that came through the city, it's easy to see why the fans flocked to the Mid-South Coliseum every Monday night, which they did. But it did not sell out every Monday night, by the way. The names who were who's who of pro wrestling: Dusty Rhodes, Terry Gordy, Jimmy Garvin, Bob Ellis, Paul Orndorff, Harley Race, Jack Briscoe, Tommy Rich, Ernie Ladd, Dutch Mantell, David Schultz, and Dick the Bruiser. All right, we've already went a long time on this. We might have to cut this thing to 2 different videos, but let's show some pictures. Let's just show some pictures from it. Mark James wrote this book. We don't agree with all of it. That doesn't mean you don't need to purchase it. Am I right, Jack?
Yeah.
It is called Memphis Wrestling.
I didn't say that. I said you've got the fantastic pictures and all of that. Just the words are not any good.
We like the pictures.
We like pictures. I don't read books without pictures in it.
Oh, all right. Here we go, Rodney. Go ahead and go.
That's Rocky Johnson right there.
Zoom it in, cameraman. All right, here we go. We got the Rocky Johnson, a picture of Rocky Johnson. What is that on it? Is that airplanes on his chest? They were birds, ain't they? He don't have birds. He didn't have birds on his chest, did he?
Yes.
They were crashing into each other, and then when he flexed his pecs, they would explode like that. Yep. That picture right there looks like it might have been digitalized or something. He looks mighty blurry.
Here is the Gulas. And I guess he did. There's
With Rocky Johnson.
I don't think ever Nick Goulas, Rocky Johnson. By the way,
One of the greatest cards I've ever signed for Chattanooga right here. Rocky Johnson is going to be on it, the Soul Man.
By the way, Mark James, Nick Goulas was a great promoter. By the way, no matter what Jerry Jarrett had to say, but he was a great promoter. Drew a lot of money. Here's the General.
That's right, the General Jerry Lawler. Lawler's Army.
5 stars. Is that 5 stars?
Looks like 4.
So Danny Davis was the only 5-star general.
Yeah, he was
sergeant.
Yeah, only 5-star sergeant in the Army.
Oh, right there we go. I love it. All right, now let's look at who we got here. There is the Gibsons, Ricky and Robert. Great tag team, by the way.
1977, mustache, Burt Reynolds. They were trying to copy.
Yep.
Yeah, they probably had the Trans Am, didn't they? All right, here we go. The Mongolian Stomper.
Yeah, there you go.
On the other side, David Schultz and Dutch Mantell, the Dirty Dutchman. I heard they were a great tag team. I heard they was really good at what they were doing. Okay, now let's see. We'll do a couple of more pages and then we'll move on. Here's I guess this is their wrestling program. What year does that? What does that say, Rodney? January 1977.
Yeah, I can't read it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's January 17th, 1977.
That you can find this on YouTube, the Stomper versus Jerry Lawler, and you'll get to see the Stomper actually do an interview. It's awesome.
So that was the first card, I guess, for the January. So I'm guessing this book will tell us the whole cards all the way through. It said January 17th. Did I say January 17th? I'd say January 7th. It's January 7th. Here is a couple of more of the pages. And let's go back.
Who is that doing the unusual stance beside Gorgeous George Jr. there in the corner?
Can you identify this wrestler? That was the old does anybody know who that wrestler is?
I'm going to say Skylo Low. Pork Chop Cash on the other side.
Yeah, Pork Chop Cash up there. Oh, Pork Chop Cash. We'll go through this card, and we'll do another version. This may actually be cut to two videos. So we've been on here for a while. There's the card. Can you see the card?
I see intermission, very big. All right, it's the. Let's see. Zoom in. Go down. Go down. We can't see. Okay. Tonight's main event card is the Stomper versus Jerry Lawler. Then they had the intermission, which is right there. And then the Southern Tag Team Championship, David Schultz and Dutch Mantell against Rocky Johnson and Bill Dundee. Another intermission. Dr. Frank against Tommy Gilbert. Looks like the mask is at stake. No time limit. Gorgeous George Jr. Pork Chop Cash versus Ricky and Robert Gibson. And down at the bottom is Private Diamond against Ark.
Well, you think that's Mike Stark?
That could be that picture of Skylo Low in the other.
That's Tommy Gilbert over there. But anyway, we will look at more of this book. I was only going to look at it one time, but I think we better look at this one.
To disregard, like I said, a Roy Welch as an intricate part of this is a complete. I don't know. CNN would be proud of this reporting. And then you've got this called Nick Goulas, not a good promoter. Is just nonsense, absolute nonsense. Now, not to tell you that he did some underhanded business dealings, but he was a great promoter.
Yeah. All right, Rodney, you can go back to the third there. We will have to look more at this book. You know, I didn't know this book was going to have such controversy in it.
Well, next time we should know to read the pages of it first.
By the way, folks, we read this as it was going. We did not read it we didn't read it beforehand. We didn't even look at it beforehand. I did look through it and see what, some pictures and stuff in it. But this is going to evidently give us every card for Memphis, and I will go on top of that. We'll do a couple more videos on this, and we'll go look and see what it drew, and see if every show in 1977 drew money. I never heard of Pat McGinnis. Anybody ever heard of Pat McGinnis? Never heard of that guy. But anyway, we will look more about this. If you enjoyed this video, give us the big. I about went out I was way up here. Give us the big thumbs up. Subscribe to the page if you haven't already. Go one step further. Hit that notification bell. And check out the video right below us right now. Thank you so much. And we'll see you on the next video. We'll talk a little bit more about this book. Maybe we can make Rodney's head explode.
I'll be ready.
We'll see you on the next video. How long did that go?
I don't know. 30 minutes, I guess.
I guess I'm gonna have to cut that in two. That's but you know what? That was a very interesting piece of this in here. But it's not even right. I mean, they're saying
it's one-sided. It's one-sided. They didn't get both sides of the story.
I have seen this though, Jerry Lawler and guys from back in that day. They have said stuff so much that they actually believe what they've said. What they don't take into account is that we're able to fact check, by the internet, everything that's been told now. Yeah. So if you've told a lie, it doesn't matter how long you've told it, it's still a lie.
I mean, it's just, and I understand Mark James was probably a fan of Jerry Jarrett.
Sure.
And I don't discount Jarrett at all.
No.
I don't discount him at all, but this is ramblings right here of someone that wasn't there. And Jarrett's show went nowhere in Chattanooga, went nowhere in Nashville during this quote war.
No,
I mean, they try to come in, run the Memorial Auditorium on a Thursday night. They didn't draw flies. I mean, they didn't draw flies. And then Saturday, Nick would come along and do well. Same thing in Nashville. So,
yeah, I don't know.
And Jarrett's show was fine, but and Lance Russell, great. But when it comes to Chattanooga, Harry Thornton was the man. Harry Thornton was the man. He could easily destroy your show by getting on there and telling everybody, well, they may announce all those people were going to be on the card, but they may not show up. That kind of thing. And then, of course, that was what Nick was known for. He advertised a lot of people that didn't show up either. But
did y'all know that Bruce Swayze worked Memphis?
Yes. Because he needed Ole to call him.
Now, this Mr. Wrestling that was there, who was that? That wasn't Tim Woods.
I would say that's Tommy Gilbert, isn't it? Mr. Wrestling?
I don't know.
Wrestling? No.
I mean, that ain't Tim Woods. So
I don't know. But he had the outfit. Now, who does it say he worked for, Mr. Wrestling?
He worked for Jarrett. Because I don't see a Chattanooga. I don't see because this is called Memphis, is a battle for Memphis. So, well, here he is again. So maybe that was Tommy Gilbert. I don't know.
Well, let me zoom in there, cameraman. Yeah, because that's not Tim Woods for sure.
No, I didn't think it was.
Because
We'll have to look that up.
77, he would have been, Tim Woods would be working in the Carolinas and for Georgia. And I'm not sure I'm sure Tim Woods did go other places because he was in Florida.
Look at this. This is Jerry Lawler's drawing. Look at this thing.
He is, Lawler's a great artist.
Yeah.
That's tremendous. All right, let's see what everybody's got to say, and but we'll do another video on that. That was very interesting. That was really very interesting. Man, what's wrong with my microphone? It keeps on falling. What have I done to it? Have I broke it?
Oh well, we're not going to zoom in there of you wrestling around with your mic stand there. Eventually, it will pin you, and it'll be 1, 2, 3, a loser league town.
Has your little rubber bands come undone? Mine keep coming undone.
Maybe that's, man. The thing just keeps on working its way downward. All right, let's see what everybody has to say here. Let's see. How did y'all feel? Oh, how did you feel about Gordon doing commercials? I didn't have a problem with him doing commercials for them.
Not for Jim Walters, no.
I mean, did y'all care
to do the voices? No, that didn't bother me at all. But hawking his own stuff in those pictures was tacky. I don't know what about that. But Jim Walter Holmes is as a sponsor. Harry Thornton would have done it for, I think it's Ed's Butcher Block. And did for somewhere else, somebody, and I think he did Jim Walter Holmes in Chattanooga as well.
Is there even a Jim Walter Holmes anymore?
I don't remember. Haven't seen one in forever. They would only finish up to 90% of your home. If I had one of those, that would be to the 90%, and that'd be it.
I think most people did.
There's no walls up in your house. Jim Walter only finished up to 90%. I'm supposed to do the rest myself. Saves me money.
Yeah.
You just step through the walls to go to I'm going to the kitchen. I just step right through the wall to the kitchen.
Let's talk about Jerry Blackwell's promotion in North Georgia.
Okay.
If we could get Jimmy Powell, he could tell us a lot about that, but I don't know that he'll come on here and talk with us. I think.
Why not? Are you offended? Is he offended by us or what? Or by you?
I just think he's maybe offended by wrestling at this point.
Oh. Was it something it said?
I don't know.
Well, we need to get him on here.
We've all been there. Now we've all been there. Hey, you want to talk about? No, that's all right. I think I'll pass on talk about wrestling.
Okay.
You know, I don't know why. I didn't ask. Did you guys ever see Jerry Lawler's music video from 1975? It had an appropriate title, Bad News. An appropriate title. No.
Look,
you see it?
No, I haven't seen it, but this music thing is the beginning of Lawler's turn. This is what starts it, and because Lawler would come out and perform before the show before they had the wrestling shows in some of these towns.
Did he sing that song? Was that his song? Dan? Was that a song he sung? I mean, is that one of his records? Richard Hood, we need to bring on Randy Ells for this. Last time I talked to Randy, he wanted to start some crap on there.
Start controversy?
Yeah, and I wouldn't go with it.
We would never start controversy. I'd like to present Mr. Lawler with this award.
There we go.
Oh, man.
There's no accounting for taste because he don't have no taste.
Rodney, was that Roy Welch? As in Roy Welch? That was not Roy Welch was not Roy Lee Welch's father. Son. I'm pretty sure his last
grandfather. Way up.
Yeah,
It's way up.
yeah.
It's Betty. Yeah, he's the grandfather, and to give him no credit for any of it, nonsense. Absolutely.
Jack, how much did you say this book was?
$22.99 on Amazon. It's not very expensive to get something that big.
No, and I'm telling you, it's well worth it. I mean, just for the pictures themselves. I mean, this is incredible. So if you want to get this book, it's well worth $22. I mean, it's got great stuff in it. I mean, it really does. Hey, there's a photograph in here of Buddy Fuller, and it was taken by Jim Cornette.
Let's see.
Wow.
All that stuff right there was done by where's that right here? All done by Jerry Lawler. All that action ringside, all that stuff was done by Jerry.
Yeah,
incredible stuff.
Artiste.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's worth it, Michael. I think it's worth the getting it. Dan said that. I think he said he had 2 of these, and well worth it. I enjoyed looking through. I didn't read it. I looked at the pictures. I didn't read it. So
let's read more of it next time.
Yeah, we'll read. We'll read.
We need to get your blood pressure meds first.
I mean, I'm okay with telling the story as is, but to get one side without getting the other it's just nonsense to me. And he did win Memphis. Now, no doubt about it. He won Memphis, but in the end, they work with each other.
Yeah, they
Lawler. I mean, Jarrett and Nick work with each other at the end.
Yeah, Jerry Blackwell owned Southern Championship Wrestling from 88 to 90. I was a promoter in Athens and announced in other towns. Buck Robley was the booker and Bill Drum. Well, we need to talk to you then, Charles.
That's right.
Since because there for a while, I know Jim Powell had something to do.
We still need to get Tanya Matthews on here, Bill Drumo's daughter. She came to Wrestle South the other night.
Oh, did she?
Yep.
And she had been on with us in a while either, has she?
Yeah. I think she's low key in love with me. At least I'm hoping.
Michael Barr said he has his load of boots on, Rodney. Michael, yeah, we know we're having fun. That's all we like. We love to have fun here.
Unless
Michael
you're on my
Barr,
Facebook page today, then nobody's got a sense of humor.
No, Michael, I believe this book is in publishing. I'm pretty sure it is. Jack said it's available. But Mark James got a ton of books.
He's talking about correcting everything.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this book. He's got The Third Man. It's a James Beard book. The Wrestling Record Book from Nashville Programs, 1951 to 52. Memphis Wrestling History, 1970 to 1985. Cards, matches, and results. I might have to buy a bunch of Mark James books. I may not want to read them, but maybe I can look at the
pictures. Are great.
I think I will buy a couple of his books. Here's a Memphis Wrestling History from 1980 to 1989. 1973 to 1979. I mean, he's done a lot of. There's a Jim Crockett Promotions as well as he's done.
It's funny. He talked about Jim Crockett Jr. and David Francis, Jackie, but left Jim Crockett Sr. out of the book.
Are there any phone numbers on those old cars in that Jumbo Wrestling Company? I don't know. I had look. Let me see. Let me see if there's some numbers you can call. There. Let me see. Yeah, they are. Wait a minute. That's the Chevrolet place. So yeah, there are some you could try to call there, Michael, and see if anybody answers.
There was somebody calling the numbers from the NWA book. Did you see that posted?
No.
He called the Vince McMahon, and then hopefully in the NWA book that we went over, Vince McMahon Jr. is not in that because Vince McMahon Jr. was not a part of the NWA. Vince McMahon Sr. was. Capital Sports, I think was the name, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because the NXT arena is called the Capital Sports Arena in honor of that.
I saw something about Ted DiBiase.
He was on. They had their NXT pay-per-view last night. It was very good. And Ted was a part of that.
I'm thinking about going and watching WWE tonight after this is over. I'm thinking about going and watching it because after watching IWA, I bet that's going to be spectacular.
I wouldn't count on it.
Marie comes back tonight.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
She'll look good at least.
Somebody commented about it today and said, she's terrible. And I said, oh, you watch her for wrestling? Come on.
Well, Michael Barr said, Brent, I think Rodney's explained that the book is all wrong.
It's not. It's not all wrong. It's just some of that nonsense is just complete. It's to act like Nick Goulas was some complete failure is misleading completely. He was not.
I remember this. Do y'all remember when Moolah said, like Fabulous Mental Fred Mailer on WWF Atlanta, that's because you don't know anything about wrestling. Do you remember that interview? He said something to her about, I can't remember what it was. He said something to her, and she said, well, that's because you don't. And I can hear her saying it, just the way she had a kind of a drive way better anyway.
You know, that's how she kind of treated me down at that at the reunion, Gulf Coast reunion that time.
Who, Moolah?
Yeah. She was sitting there with Diamond Lil was with her and Mae Young.
He said, if you can call it singing, that down. Michael Barr, there is an organization down here in the Southeast that a wrestler stole the bullets, bad them on ring entrance music.
Well, that's because they have to go back that far because today's music really doesn't fit any kind of ring entrance.
You guys have jokes tonight.
Richard, we were actually thinking about taking the act on the road, and then we realized we'd have to leave the house.
That's right.
We only want to leave the house maybe 3 times a year. And that's Dan, can you believe that Ashley made 45s of that song? I bet they sold a ton of them, though.
I bet they did.
You know, something about Jarrett, I'll have to give that he was way before in the merchandising. He was way ahead of his time as far as merchandising went.
Sure.
You know, there's no doubt about that. So we'll see what Jerry Lawler, I don't know how he had time to wrestle. He did a lot of drawing in this.
Well, it's because he never went to the gym, so he had plenty of time for that.
Dan, who gave us this book, and he also gave us a couple other things we're going to go over with. He said his next shipment, I'll send Kevin Sullivan's book for Rodney's library.
Okay.
So you better send it to me because Rodney has marshmallows to roast.
That was stuff I need to burn out.
Rodney is wearing his built-up boot tonight. Michael Barr, yep, Jim Walter Holmes went out of business. There was no one to build the other 10% of the house.
There's a house next door to me right here that was a Jim Walter home, and they did the 10%, and you should have seen what they did. They put boards up, these wood boards. Well, they didn't let the boards dry. So when they dried, you could see through from one room to the next. It was not good. Should not have to, it looked great. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looked great, but when the wood dried, it shrunk, and when you did, you could see through into the next room.
Dusty Rhodes right here in his white robe.
Olivia original.
That white robe got green stuff spit on it. And Bobby Simmons' wife, Donna, they told her to take that and get that and clean it, but keep the green stuff in it. And that ain't really what they said to her, but that's what she heard. And she got it dry cleaned and they kept the green stuff in it. that really, yeah. Michael, thank you so much. We've
thank you.
Most of all this stuff is completely ad-lib because we certainly didn't know what we were going to look in on this. I did not know. I had not read that thing. I had told Jack and him before. I said, I don't know if I need to do it. I haven't read it. And we just read it while we was on the air. I mean, that's we'll have to read more of this because this is crazy. This is crazy stuff. Hey, by the way, Bill Dundee's book is the only book that I've ever read that I can say that every bit of it is truthful.
That's because Bill would beat him up if he put anything in.
Because I haven't read a lot of Ole's book. Had a lot of stuff in it that wasn't.
You think that there was an embellishment?
Yes, Ole did a lot of embellishment.
Embellishment on here. This book is signed, by the way.
By Ole?
Yeah. Not sure what it says. Let's see. Ronnie, you are the one. I don't know what that says up there. I would say that might be a bad word. And a guy that was pretty good ref, better than Charlie for sure. Okay. You were one. Oh, okay. You're one hell of a guy and a pretty good ref, better than Charlie for sure. Thanks, Ole Anderson. That sounds like Ole, doesn't it?
It does. It does. All right, guys, we're going to get off of here. Thank y'all so much. Tomorrow night we'll have a little bit of fun. So tell everybody we'll have a little bit more fun with this Mark James book. And
Victor, like I said, Victor's going to stir it up tomorrow night. I can't wait to see his stirring.
So we're going to have a little bit more fun.
Victor
well,
or Dan, which one is Victor? Is going to stir it up with his selection in this top 100.
I can't wait myself. You know, I may not be able to sleep, Victor. You might want to go ahead and email it to me so I can see what it is. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much. We'll see everybody tomorrow night, 7:30. We'll top 100 wrestlers, and then and tomorrow night we'll read through this. We'll read a little bit through more of this book here. we'll see what we can get out of it. All right, thank you guys, and we'll see y'all everybody tomorrow.